A step towards peace. That is how EU Council President Charles Michel described a meeting he hosted between the leaders of Azerbaijan and Armenia. The two countries fought a bitter war back in 2020 and have yet to resolve several outstanding issues, including the demarcation of their border, the return of detainees from the conflict, and the opening of transport links. The EU, which recently signed a major natural gas deal with Azerbaijan, has been a key mediator in peace talks. The meeting follows last month's clashes in the Karabakh region that has left 3 soldiers dead. Both Armenia and Azerbaijan accused each other of breaching a Russian-brokered ceasefire that ended their 6-week war. Karabakh is internationally recognized as being part of Azerbaijan, but has been illegally occupied by Armenia since 1991. Baku was able to regain several cities in the 2020 war, which killed more than 6,600 people. Several rounds of peace talks, which have also been hosted by Russia, have tried to resolve long-standing issues and to prevent future conflicts in this energy-rich region. To break down these talks further, joining us from Baku is Faris Ismailzadeh. He is the Vice Rector at Ada University. And from Milan, Eleonora Tofuro Ambrosetti. She's a research fellow at the Russia, Caucasus, and Central Asia Center over at the Italian Institute for International Political Studies. Welcome to both of you. Eleonora, let me begin with you. When you look at the latest round of talks, I mean, what is Brussels' real motivation here? Because up until now, Russia's role in all of this was to maintain sort of the peacekeeper role. I mean, is Brussels trying to sidestep Russia and take over this role?
I don't think Brussels has the capacity to act as a security provider. That was the role that Moscow intended to keep, especially with Armenia. But Brussels has a great diplomatic capital, and it's all the more interested in helping maintain peace in the region, because, of course, there is a much bigger crisis developing at the moment with the war in Ukraine, but also because it is more interested in building a profitable relationship with Azerbaijan, which is to become one of the main energy sources for the EU.
We'll talk about that profitable relationship in just a bit when we get into the gas deal. But Faris, let me turn to you. Eleonora said that Brussels sort of lacks the ability to act as a security provider. Let me ask you about the security situation. The ceasefire, the Russian broker ceasefire, would you describe it as shaky because of the recent deaths? And how do you see the talks going in Brussels?
Generally, the situation is more or less stable. Definitely, we are not at a state of war, so the Russian peacekeepers are doing quite a good job. But sporadic violations of ceasefire happen, and the main reason for that is the lack of agreement on peace deal, eventual peace deal. Azerbaijan offered a peace proposal to Armenia, which is not accepted yet. So that's why the talks in Brussels are looked upon with great optimism, because both Azerbaijanis and Armenians believe that Brussels brokered negotiations can lead to eventual peace agreement, which is necessary for sustainable and durable peace in the region. Okay.
Eleonora, let me pick up with you where you left off. I mean, it's no secret that Europe is trying to reduce its dependence on Russian hydrocarbons. And Azerbaijan here is in a position to sort of fill in a very key gap. I mean, do they have perhaps a bias in this mediation, especially when it comes to the sovereignty issue of the Karabakh region?
Well, I wouldn't call it bias, because the argument that Azerbaijan has, like in the war, that its sovereignty was violated, is shared basically by the international community. So I don't think there is a bias here. I think the EU is definitely deepening its ties with Baku for energy reasons, but at the same time, it also has a very good relationship with Armenia, with whom has signed a agreement that substituted the association agreement, but is still a way for Brussels to have some political and economic leverage with Yerevan. And Brussels is also very interested in seizing the moment. Brussels knows that Armenia is in a very weak and vulnerable economic situation, and also that the role, the image of Russia after the Ukraine invasion is undermined. And so I think it's convinced that Yerevan will be more flexible, and it's determined to take advantage of this positive situation to have a breakthrough.
Okay, Faris, several issues are being discussed or have been discussed and will be continue to be discussed, because that is the message that we got from the three leaders from Brussels last night. One of the topics is the opening up of the land border. I mean, when you consider the fact that Western sanctions have hit the Russian economy hard, and the fact that Armenia's economy is deeply linked to the Russian economy, do you see any sight or any progress in sight when it comes to this issue?
Yeah, actually, opening of the transport and the communication lines is one of the most important issues on the agenda, and it will benefit all sides. Armenia, Azerbaijan, it's a win-win scenario. And the Zangezur corridor, which is proposed by Azerbaijan, it will link Turkey to Central Asia, to Chinese markets. It will bring Europe and Asia together. So there's a lot of opportunities there. If Azerbaijan and Armenia agree on, let's say, delimitation of the borders and opening of the transport corridors, this would become a very important corridor linking important parts of the world, and it will be reliable corridor as opposed to the northern route, which is going through Russia and not so much reliable now because of European sanctions.
You mentioned Turkey, Faris. I want to get sort of your take in terms of how this country sort of is in a position to really affect the momentum here, because I was reading a comment by the Armenian economy minister. He said that if the borders were to open up, Armenia really has the chance to increase its GDP, its economic growth by about 30% in the next couple of years. This should be a real incentive to stick by a deal.
Yeah, this situation is definitely a huge opportunity both for Armenia and Turkey, not only to normalize political relationships, but also to boost the trade and to link Turkey with Central Asia via Caucasus. So this is a huge opportunity that should not be missed. And I think Armenian leadership understands it and hopefully will utilize the momentum to sign agreements both with Azerbaijan and Turkey to open the borders.
Eleonora, I want to get your take on the Turkish role here. I mean, following up on what Faris said.
No, absolutely. I agree with everything that Faris said, and it's really a source of hope to see that the talks between Armenia and Turkey are proceeding parallel to the ones with Azerbaijan. And we see also probably a positive role also played by the United States, which feels that it has to facilitate the deal with Armenia, also to improve the relationship with Turkey, which, as we know, are not always easy.
We've mentioned, or you just mentioned the United States, we've mentioned Turkey, Brussels, as well as Russia. One country that we're leaving out here is actually Iran. It plays an important role in terms of the stability in the region. We know that there is a proposal on the table in terms of creating a land corridor between Azerbaijani land and Nakhchivan. Azerbaijan wants this. Iran is very much against this. There is tension here, isn't there, Faris?
Well, Iran at times feels that they are having less influence in the region, and Turkey has more influence, more increasing popularity and prestige. So they get a little bit concerned and nervous about this competition. But overall, I would say there's also opportunity for Iran to be part of regional development as well. Azerbaijan has proposed various transport routes, north-south, which involves Iran. Also, some Azerbaijani cargo reaches Turkey via Irani territory. So the 3+3 model, which includes Iran, Russia, and Turkey at the same time with three Caucasus countries, can be a win-win model for all sides. And I think Iranians understand it as well.
Eleonora, for it to be a win-win model, it basically boils down to the two countries, Armenia and Azerbaijan. Charles Michel said that these were productive talks. What do you want, as an analyst, what do you want to see in the next round of talks? What is one area of discussion that can see progress?
I mean, what I think should be the priority, and probably is also the most promising issue, is the issue of connectivity, because of what we have been discussing. It's a win-win topic. It's not only in the interest of Armenia and Azerbaijan, but in the whole region, Iran and Turkey as well. So I think there is more interest in progressing in this area. But of course, without peace, without the full respect of the peace ceasefire agreement, we won't get anywhere.
Faris, I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, I mean, most important step is for both countries to recognize territorial integrity of each other, and that will be the foundation for durable peace and economic cooperation. Without that, it will be difficult to proceed, and that is what Azerbaijan proposed to Armenia.
Okay. Faris Ismailzadeh and Eleonora Tafur Ambrazetti, thank you very much for joining us here on Straight Talk. I do appreciate it.